The sun blazed over Lahore's bustling Gulberg Park on a scorching June afternoon. Families lounged under neem trees, vendors hawked ice-cold lassies, and kids darted through the crowd, their laughter echoing. Amid this lively chaos, Constable Arif Khan patrolled with a swagger, his khaki uniform crisp despite the heat. He was young, brash, and saw his badge as a ticket to respect or mischief. Boredom gnawed him as he scanned the park, his eyes catching a group of girls giggling near the marble fountain. One stood out, a tall girl in a flowing kurta, her dark hair catching the sunlight. Arif smirked, sensing an opportunity to break the monotony as he sauntered over, his walkie-talkie dangling loosely in his hand. The girls were taking selfies, oblivious to his approach. Arif, thinking himself clever, decided to play a prank. With a quick flick, he nudged the hem of the girl's kurta with his walkie-talkie, expecting a laugh or a shy blush. Instead, the air froze. The girl spun around, her eyes sharp with fury, not embarrassment. Without a word, she reached into her purse and pulled out an ID card, thrusting it toward him. Arif's grin faded as he read the name, Aisha Malik. His heart sank. Malik wasn't just any surname in Lahore, it was tied to power, influence, and trouble. Whispers of her identity raced through his mind. Who was she? Why did that name feel like a storm brewing? The park's noise faded, and Arif realized his joke might cost him dearly. Constable Arif Khan stood frozen, Aisha Malik's ID card burning in his hand. The bustling Gulberg Park seemed to blur as her name echoed in his mind, Malik, a surname that carried weight in Lahore's elite circles. Was she related to that Malik? The one whose influence stretched from police headquarters to the city's political corridors? Arif's throat tightened. His harmless prank now felt like a reckless gamble. Aisha's piercing gaze held no mercy, only cold resolve. The other girls stopped their chatter, sensing the shift in the air. One whispered, "Bye, ya Tobari Bat Hai." Arif stammered, "Miss, it was just a joke, no harm meant." Aisha's lips curled into a faint, unamused smile. "A joke," she said softly, her voice laced with steel. "You'll see how funny it is soon." She turned, signaling her friends to leave, her poise unshaken. Arif watched her walk away, each step amplifying his dread. His radio crackled, but he ignored it, his mind racing. He'd heard of officers disciplined for less, public complaints, a tarnished reputation, or worse, a transfer to some remote outpost. But this felt bigger. Back at the station, whispers had already started. A junior constable nudged him, "Arif, Kia tune? That girl's father is someone big." Arif's bravado crumbled. He replayed the moment, his impulsive act, her unflinching response. Lahore was a city where connections mattered, and a single misstep could unravel years of ambition. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the park, Arif felt a chill. He wasn't just facing a reprimand, he was staring down the end of his career. The next morning, Gulberg Park's vibrancy felt like a distant memory for Constable Arif Khan. The police station buzzed with routine chaos, officers shouting, phones ringing, but Arif's world was silent, his gut churning with unease. Aisha Malik's name haunted him. By noon, his fears materialized. A curt message from the station chief, "Report to SP Malik's office." Now. SP Malik, Superintendent of Police, Asad Malik. The name hit like a thunderbolt. Was Aisha his daughter? Arif's palms sweated as he adjusted his uniform, the khaki now feeling like a noose. The walk to the SP's office was agonizing. Lahore's humid air clung to him, amplifying his dread. Inside, the office was stark, polished desk, a framed photo of the force, and Asad Malik, a man whose stern reputation preceded him. His eyes, sharp as a hawk's, fixed on Arif. No greeting, no pleasantries. "Constable Khan," he said, voice low but cutting, "explain yourself." Arif's mouth went dry. He mumbled about the park, the joke, how it was meant to be harmless. Each word felt like digging his own grave. Malik leaned back, his silence louder than any rebuke. "You thought lifting my daughter's kurta was funny?" he asked, his tone icy. Arif's knees buckled. Aisha was indeed his daughter. The room spun as Malik continued, "You've disgraced the uniform, Khan. Actions have consequences. No shouting, no drama, just a chilling promise.
Arif's mind raced with images of his career in ruins, his family's disappointment, and Lahore's unforgiving rumor mill.
As he left the office, a clerk handed him a suspension notice. The real punishment, he knew, was yet to come. Arif Khan's suspension notice felt heavier than the humid Lahore air. Back at his cramped apartment, the weight of his actions sank in. The once proud constable, who strutted through Gulberg Park, now faced a mirror reflecting shame. His phone buzzed with messages, colleagues gossiping, neighbors prying.
Arif, Kia Tune, read 1.
He ignored them, but the whispers of Aisha Malik's identity spread like wildfire. Her father, SP Asad Malik, was not just a senior officer but a man known for his zero-tolerance stance on misconduct. Arif's joke had struck a nerve in Lahore's power structure. He replayed the moment at the park, his careless flick of Aisha's kurta, her steely response.
Why hadn't he stopped to think?
His family relied on his salary, his younger brother's school fees, his mother's medicines, all now at risk. Arif's bravado had always been his shield, but now it was shattered. He visited his friend Faisal, a fellow constable, hoping for advice. Faisal's face was grim.
Bye, Malik Saab doesn't forgive easily. You've crossed a line.
Rumors swirled that Aisha had already filed a formal complaint, citing disrespect and abuse of power. As evening fell, Arif's phone rang, an unknown number.
Hesitant, he answered. A woman's voice, calm but firm. Aisha. Constable Khan, meet me tomorrow at the park. We need to talk.
His heart raced.
Was this a chance to apologize, or a trap?
Lahore's streets buzzed outside, indifferent to his turmoil.
Arif knew one thing: facing Aisha again would test his courage more than any patrol ever had.
What did she want? Redemption seemed distant, but he had no choice but to find out. The morning sun cast long shadows over Gulberg Park as Arif Khan arrived, his heart pounding. The fountain where his fateful prank occurred sparkled mockingly. Aisha Malik stood there, alone, her expression unreadable. Dressed in a simple shalwar kameez, she exuded quiet authority, a stark contrast to the carefree girl he'd targeted.
Arif's suspension notice burned in his pocket, a reminder of his fall.
He approached, head bowed, rehearsing his apology.
Miss Aisha, I'm sorry, he began, voice shaky. It was a stupid mistake.
Aisha's eyes narrowed, cutting through his words.
A mistake?
She said, her tone sharp.
You humiliated me in public, constable. You thought it was funny because I'm a woman?
Arif flinched, her words slicing deeper than any reprimand from her father. She stepped closer, her voice low.
My father wanted you dismissed, but I asked for this meeting. I want to understand why.
Arif stammered, admitting his boredom, his arrogance, how he thought it was just a joke. Her silence was deafening. I've seen men like you, Aisha continued. You wear a uniform but forget its weight.
My complaint could end your career, but I'm giving you a chance to make this right.
Arif's hope flickered.
Was this mercy?
She handed him a card with an address.
Meet me here tomorrow. Prove you're more than your mistake.
As she walked away, Arif stood rooted, the card trembling in his hand. Lahore's bustle resumed around him, but his world had shifted.
Aisha's challenge was a lifeline, but also a test. Could he redeem himself?
Or was this another step toward his downfall? Arif Khan clutched the card Aisha gave him, its address pointing to a community center in Lahore's model town. The morning was cooler, but his nerves burned as he navigated the city's chaotic streets. His suspension had left him adrift, with whispers of his park blunder spreading among colleagues.
Gulberg's vibrant park felt like a distant memory, replaced by the weight of his uncertain future.
At the center, Aisha waited, her demeanor calm but resolute. The building hummed with activity, women and children attending classes, volunteers bustling about. Arif felt out of place, his uniform replaced by plainclothes. Constable Khan, Aisha began, this is my mother's NGO. We work with women facing harassment, teaching them to reclaim their dignity. Her words stung, a reminder of his thoughtless act. You disrespected me, but I believe in second chances.
Help here for a month, unpaid. Show you understand respect.
Arif's pride bristled.
Manual labor, no badge, no pay?
Yet, her gaze held no malice, only expectation. He nodded, swallowing his ego. His first task was humbling, organizing supplies for a women's self-defense workshop. The participants, young and old, eyed him warily. Aisha observed, her presence a quiet pressure. As he worked, he overheard stories: women harassed on buses, in markets, their voices ignored. Arif's shame deepened. His joke wasn't just a mistake, it was part of a larger pattern. By day's end, his hands were calloused, his mind heavy with realization.
Aisha's offer wasn't punishment, it was a mirror.
Lahore's streets carried on outside, but inside, Arif felt a shift. Could he earn back respect, not just for himself, but for the uniform he'd tarnished? Arif Khan returned to the Model Town Community Center, the weight of Aisha's challenge pressing harder each day.
Lahore's relentless energy pulsed outside, but inside, Arif was unraveling.
His tasks, sorting books, cleaning classrooms,
were menial, yet the women's stories he overheard cut deeper than any reprimand.
A young girl shared how a guard's lewd comments silenced her. An older woman recounted being groped in a market. Arif saw his park prank reflected in their pain, no longer just a joke. His uniform, once a source of pride, now felt like a betrayal. Aisha watched him closely, her presence both stern and encouraging. During a break, she approached. "Learning anything, Constable?" she asked, her tone probing.
Arif hesitated, then admitted, "I didn't realize how it feels. I was wrong."
Aisha nodded, her expression softening slightly.
"Good. Awareness is the first step. But words aren't enough."
She assigned him to assist in a workshop teaching women to confront harassment. Arif, awkward at first, listened as participants practiced assertive responses. Their courage humbled him. By week's end, his hands were rough, his ego bruised.
Colleagues mocked him via texts, from constable to errand boy.
Yet, Arif felt a shift. He wasn't just serving time, he was seeing the world through the eyes of those he'd dismissed.
Lahore's chaos faded as he focused on the center's mission.
Aisha's card had led him here, but the real journey was within.
Could he prove his remorse was genuine?
As he left, a woman from the workshop thanked him, her smile tentative but real. For the first time, Arif felt a flicker of redemption. Arif Khan's days at the Model Town Community Center blurred into a routine of labor and learning.
Lahore's vibrant streets, once his playground, now felt distant as he immersed himself in the NGO's work.
The women's stories of resilience, of standing tall despite fear, chipped away at his old arrogance. Aisha Malik, ever watchful, noticed his effort but kept her distance, her expectations clear.
Today, she gave him a new task: speak at a workshop about respect and accountability. Arif's stomach knotted.
He, a disgraced constable, addressing women he'd once failed? Standing before the group, his voice faltered.
I made a mistake,"
he began, recounting the park incident without excuses. The room was silent, eyes piercing.
"I thought it was a joke, but I hurt someone. I'm learning what respect really means." Some nodded, others remained skeptical.
Aisha, at the back, gave a slight nod, her first sign of approval.
The moment was fleeting but fueled Arif's resolve.
He wasn't just working for forgiveness, he was rebuilding himself. Later, a colleague from the station visited, smirking.
"Arif, you're wasting your time here. Malik won't reinstate you." Doubt crept in, but Arif shook it off.
He thought of his mother's pride in his uniform, now tarnished, and the women at the center who trusted him with small tasks. Lahore's elite circles might never forget his blunder, but he could change their narrative. As he left, Aisha handed him a letter. "Read it tomorrow," she said cryptically.
Was it a verdict on his efforts or another test?
Arif clutched it, knowing his next step could define his future.
Arif Khan sat in his dimly lit apartment, the letter from Aisha Malik trembling in his hands. Lahore's evening call to prayer echoed outside, but his focus was on the envelope.
His month at the community center had reshaped him. Each task, each story from the women he met, had stripped away his old bravado.
Yet, fear lingered. Was this letter his final judgment?
He tore it open, his heart racing. Inside, Aisha's neat handwriting detailed his progress at the NGO, praising his sincerity.
But the last line hit hard: meet my father tomorrow. He's ready to talk. Arif barely slept. The next morning, he stood outside SP Asad Malik's office, the same place where his suspension had been sealed. Lahore's humid air clung to him as he entered. Malik's stern gaze met him, but there was a new softness. My daughter says you've changed, he began. She believes in second chances. I'm not convinced yet. Arif stood tall, no longer the brash constable who'd mocked respect. Sir, I was wrong. I'm not that man anymore, he said, voice steady. Malik leaned forward. Actions speak louder than words, Khan. Aisha's NGO needs a liaison officer to train women in safety protocols. Volunteer, and I'll consider reinstating you, probation ally. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a chance. Arif nodded, gratitude mixing with resolve. As he left, he thought of Gulberg Park, where his careless prank had started this journey. Lahore's chaos continued, but Arif felt anchored. Aisha's trust, the women's stories, and now this opportunity, they were his path to redemption. Could he prove himself worthy, not just to Malik, but to himself? Arif Khan stood at the edge of Gulberg Park, the fountain sparkling under Lahore's morning sun. 3 months had passed since his suspension, since that reckless prank on Aisha Malik. The community center had changed him, its women, their courage, and Aisha's faith had reshaped his soul. Today, he wasn't just a disgraced constable, he was a man on probation, assigned as a liaison officer for the NGO. His new role was clear: train women in safety protocols, turning his shame into purpose. The uniform he once wore with arrogance now felt like a second chance. At the center, Arif led his first session. Women of all ages listened as he taught basic self-defense and how to report harassment. His voice, once cocky, now carried humility. I failed someone once, he admitted, eyes meeting Aisha's at the back. I won't again. The women nodded, some offering tentative smiles. Aisha's faint nod felt like a victory. Later, SP Malik visited, observing silently. Keep this up, Khan, he said before leaving. It wasn't warmth, but it was respect, hard-earned. Lahore's streets buzzed outside, indifferent to Arif's journey. His family, once ashamed, now saw hope in his eyes. The park incident, once a scandal, was fading in the city's gossip. Arif knew redemption wasn't a moment but a lifelong commitment. As he locked up the center, Aisha approached. You've done well, Arif. Keep going. Her words were a beacon. He'd stumbled, but now he walked with purpose, proving power demands respect, not privilege. Lahore, with its chaos and heart, had given him a second chance. Dear viewers, what a journey! If this story moved you, give it a like and subscribe for more inspiring tales.